Hello aspirants, a very warm welcome on the YouTube channel of Analyst IAS. So in today's bridge series, we are discussing the economy MCQs which came in the year 2017. So total number of questions which came this year were 9 questions. The basic idea of the bridge series is to let you know how the UPSC asks the question, किस pattern में पूछता है. So let's start question 1. With reference to the National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, which of the following statements are correct? It is an organ of Niti Aayog and it has a corpus of this much crore at present. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So the correct answer to this is D. NIIF has been structured as a fund of funds and set up as a category second alternative investment fund under the Securities and Exchange Board of India. So it is under the SEBI regulations and not under the Niti Aayog. Moreover, there is not a corpus of 4,40,000 crore का corpus है total fund इसमें. So both statements are wrong. Your correct answer is D. What are the most likely advantages of implementing the GST or the goods and services tax? It will replace multiple taxes collected by the multiple authorities and will thus create a single market in India. It will drastically reduce the current account deficit of India and will enable it to increase its foreign exchange reserves. It will enormously increase the growth and size of the economy of India and will enable it to overtake China in the near future. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So correct answer to this is A is your correct answer. ये multiple tax जैसे VAT वगैरह होते थे इन सबको हटा के ये एक single window tax system है जिसमें center state आपस में बांट लेते हैं CGST and SGST. So your answer is A. Statement first is the correct. This is the standard aim of it. Second statement, it may reduce the fiscal deficit in the long run and may place the CAD favorably due to better foreign investment climate owing to an improved tax structure है तो foreign investment ज़्यादा आएगा. But the word is drastically which is used here. It is very extreme. So that is why this statement is wrong. Third, it is also an extreme statement and a very vague statement. Is that GST has nothing to do with this. Question third, consider the following statements. Tax revenue as a percent of GDP of India has steadily increased in the last decade. Fiscal deficit as per the GDP of India has steadily increased in the last decade. Which of the statements given above is correct? Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So your correct answer to this is D is your correct answer. Both statements are wrong. Statement first, it talks about the India's tax buoyancy, which the responsiveness of tax revenue mobilization to GDP growth. It is calculated as a ratio of percentage growth in the tax revenues to growth in nominal GDP for a given year. Tax is said to be buoyant if the gross tax revenues increase more than proportional response to the rise in the GDP figures. If it is less than 1, it means tax revenues have not increased proportionally with the GDP growth. This figure, the figure below shows, there was a figure, I'll tell you, but these both statements are wrong about this. So your answer is D. This question came from the economic survey of that year. So now question number 4. What is the purpose of setting up small finance banks in India? To supply credit to small business unit, to supply credit to small and marginal farmers, to encourage young entrepreneurs, to set up business, particularly in the rural areas. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So the main aim of these small finance banks is, both statements are correct, but it has nothing to do with the young entrepreneurs and all. So, however, apart from the provision of the credit, there is no explicit provision that the SBFC have been set up to encourage the setting up of businesses in the rural areas. So third is wrong, and these two statements above were correct as per the RBI guideline. The objective of setting up of small finance bank will be further financial inclusion by provision of saving vehicles, supply of credit to small businesses, small farmers, micro MSMEs को देना. So these are basically the aim. Which of the following is the most likely consequence of implementing the UPI? Mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payments. Digital currency will totally replace the physical currency in about 2 decades. FDI inflows will drastically increase. Direct transfer of subsidies to poor people will become very effective. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So your correct answer to this is A. Option A and D. UPI allows a customer to pay directly from a bank account to different merchants, both online and offline, without hassle of typing credit cards, IFSC code, ये सब नहीं मांगता है. So A is correct. D inappropriate है इस context में. अगर देखें, direct transfer of subsidies to poor people will become very effective. These are wrong. So your statement first is correct. All other statements are wrong. Question 6. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the Monetary Policy Committee? It decides the RBI's benchmark rates. It is a 12-member body, including the governor of RBI is reconstituted every year. It functions under the chairmanship of Union Finance Minister. Select the correct answer in the code given below. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So your correct answer to this is A is your correct answer. It decides different rates, SLR, repo rate, and marginal standing facility rate and all, reverse repo, ये सारी चीज़ें मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी ही डिसाइड करती है. इन्फ्लेशन को कंट्रोल करने का उसका वर्क होता है. इसमें 6 मेंबर होते हैं, 12 नहीं होते, जिसमें आरबीआई गवर्नर, डिप्यूटी गवर्नर आरबीआई के होते हैं, एक आरबीआई ऑफिसर होता है, एंड 3 मेंबर्स आर नॉमिनेटेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. ये हर 2-2 महीने पे इसका मिलने का एक होता है. देन द गवर्नर ऑफ आरबीआई इज द एक्स ऑफिशियल चेयरपर्सन ऑफ दिस, not the finance minister. Which of the following statements best describes the term scheme for sustainable structure of stressed assets S4A recently seen in the news? It is a procedure for considering ecological cost or developmental schemes formulated by the government. It is a scheme of RBI for reworking the financial structure of big corporate entities facing genuine difficulties. It is a disinvestment plan of the government regarding the central public sector undertakings. It is an important provision in the insolvency and bankruptcy code recently implemented by the government. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So your correct answer to this is B is your correct answer. The RBI has issued guidelines for the scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets as an optional framework to manage the bad loans. Under this scheme, large ticket loans are restructured by separating a sustainable loan from an unsustainable loan. Lenders are required to make this classification. Sustainable level of debt is one which the bank thinks the stressed borrowers can service with its current cash flows. Which of the following have occurred in India after its liberalization of economy in 1991? Share of agriculture in GDP increased enormously. Share of India's exports in the world trade increased. FDI inflows increased. India's foreign exchange reserves increased enormously. Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So your correct answer to this is B is your correct answer. Statement first, share of agriculture has reduced, so you can just eliminate these statements. And other 3 statements, इंडिया के एक्सपोर्ट बड़े हैं, FDI इंक्रीज हुआ है, और FDI इंक्रीज होगा तो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स पे भी बढ़ोतरी आएगी. So your 3 statements are correct. This happened as on an account of liberalization of the current as well as the capital account. For the time when India could have defaulted balance of payments in 1991, we have reached a situation today where forex reserves are over 350 billion. So last question of today's session. Consider the following statements. The National Payment Corporation of India helps in promoting financial inclusion in the country. NPCI launched the rupee card payment system. Which of the statements given is correct? Pause the video, try to answer. Now let's see the answer. So your correct answer to this is C. ये एक नॉन फॉर प्रॉफिट कंपनी है एंड रुपे वगैरह इसी ने लॉन्च किए थे. सो इट इज़ एन एम्ब्रेला ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फॉर ऑल द रिटेल पेमेंट सिस्टम इन इंडिया. Thus, an important objective of NPCI is to facilitate an affordable payment mechanism to benefit the common man across the country and help the financial inclusion. RuPay एक domestic card payment network है that provides the alternative to international card schemes, and it was introduced by this NPCI. This was all about today's video and session. Thank you. Have a nice day and stay tuned with ANALYST IAS for your better prepare.